Today I'm going to talk about how to turn the focus peaking on and off on your Olympus Pen F. Okay, this is really a subset of another video I did on how to adapt manual focus lenses, and I guess I didn't make it clear exactly how to set the focus peaking. And so basically we'll go ahead and start from scratch, and I'll go ahead and reset the menu here. Reset the camera to a full factory reset. Click OK. So now we should all be on the same page. Turn the info off here. Okay, now the next thing in the menu, just go down to the custom menu, and I'm going to program one of the buttons to turn the focus peaking on and off. So you do that in the button dial menu. And we'll go over, and you want to select button function. And here are all the buttons that you can program on the Pen F. And the one I'm going to program is this one here on the front, which is normally the depth of field preview. And for manual focus lenses, you don't need it. It's it's not used. Okay, so this front button here is identified by this iris icon. And over here, the iris icon means that it is programmed to be the depth of field. So let's go ahead and scroll over to the right and go in here. And as you can see, the default is depth of field preview. And I'm just going to scroll up until I see what I want here, which is the peaking. So now this front button function is going to act as the peaking on-off button. Okay, so I clicked OK, so you can see the function button. The depth of field preview button is programmed for peaking. I'll click OK. Now we're back out. Okay, the next thing I like to do, and this is a personal preference, so I'll go into the display menu, and I'm going to scroll all the way down until I see the peaking settings. And the default is set to peaking color is white. I'm going to change this to yellow. And the reason I do that is because I also like to use the histogram peaking function, where it highlights the shadows and highlights of a picture, and that uses the colors red and blue. So if I'm using yellow as my peaking color, I'll know whenever I'm looking at the camera that I'm looking at a peaking highlight and not like a shadow highlight or a highlight in red or blue. I'm not going to be confused which display or peaking I'm looking at. And for this demo, I'm going to turn the highlight intensity on to high. Normally I just leave it to normal because I'm usually outdoors and the lighting's really good and it's easy to see the peak and there's a lot of contrast areas. But here with my little prop here, it's not really enough contrast to see it as clear, especially on YouTube. But you can experiment with that on your own and see what you prefer. I also like to turn the image brightness adjustment off, because what that's designed to do is, to adjust the brightness on the back of the camera or through the viewfinder so that you can see the peaking colors a little easier. But then you don't get the actual true exposure of what the picture is going to look like when you take it. So whenever I'm looking through the viewfinder on the back of the camera, I want to see what the camera sees or how the picture is going to look when I take it, not something else, because then I'll get even more confused, which, I'm confused enough already with a lot of things. Okay, and that's it. So we'll go back out, and I think we're set. So I'll just tap the shutter button. Okay, now I have a little prop here, which is some kind of Halo action figure, or, I don't know. But let's, as you can see now, this is set. Oops, sorry, that's the aperture. I'm going to set that to about f2. And I'm just going to take it out of focus real quick. And if I were to try to focus this manually without focus peaking, and with my dying eyes, I can't tell what's in focus, what's not, but to my naked eye, that looks about right. But to use the focus peaking, remember I programmed this function button in the front. I can turn that on, and that right away you can see this yellow highlighting here. And there's sort of about an inch's worth of highlighting going on here. So if I want to make sure I'm focused right on the eye of the action figure, I can punch in by hitting magnifying button. And I think you can, let me turn the touch screen on. There. You can kind of move this around the different places, but let's just move it right over to the eye. And we'll punch in again by clicking the magnify button. And let me just move this down. So let me see if I can do a little better. Yeah, see? If I turn the focus ring a little bit. There, now I'm like right on the eye. If I zoom out a little, I'll show you what the focus peaking is doing. Let's move this down. Right now the focus peaking is right on the eye, but let's say I wanted to focus on the Master Chief over here, on his helmet. Then as I turn the focus peaking, and hopefully you can see this yellow area, yellow peaking is moving back. Now it's up on his shoulders. Now it's on the Master Chief's chest. And now it's right here on his shoulders, not quite on his mask because there's not a lot of contrast going on there. So let me try and punch in a little bit closer. Move this down. There. Now I think I'm right on his mask here, or his helmet. And so if I were to focus on the Master Chief helmet, that's what I preferred. So let's scroll out or punch it back out. And as you can see, now the alien's head is blurry, but the Master Chief is in focus. Now this lens, this is one of my swirly bokeh lenses, so the outer edges are going to be not very sharp to begin with. But let me go back and focus back in on this monster's eye here. Perfect. I can probably punch in even closer. Okay. That looks good. Okay, let me punch back out, look at the overall scene. If I click OK, it'll get rid of that little square. Okay, again, you can see it's now peeking right on the guy's head, and when I punched in, I could tell I was focused right on the creature's eye. And you know, this picture looks a little bland to me, so let me try one of the color profiles. Here we go, pop art. Yeah, that looks better. Pop art 2. Light tone, nah. Okay, let's go with pop art 2. Okay, and we'll just take a picture. Let's hit the play button and see what that looks pretty good. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'll scroll up, and hopefully you can see this in YouTube. And I'll put a picture of this up for you so you can see. But that looks pretty good. Okay, so again, this button now works like a toggle. So when I'm punched in, let me zoom out a little. If I click it, it turns the focus peaking on. I can click it, turns the focus peaking off. Why did the camera turn off? Oh, really stressing me. Okay, you get the idea. Thanks for watching. I should have checked the battery on this before I started this video. We'll see you again soon. Thanks.